Hey guys, this is a long-awaited commentary. I didn't want to have to do this commentary or go in deep about this uh, this this free agent lifestyle coach brother by the name of Coach Greg Adams. I understand where he's coming from. I do, and I think it's more towards the Western way of dating and mating in the dating and so-called dating and mating so-called market, which is really it really internally really does not exist unless these women are interested these days. And my problem with Coach Greg Adams is that he tries to put a stamp on every type of female out here. I have not met every female, and I know that every female is different. But in terms of the Western dating and mating and marriage society, I can understand where he's coming from. A lot of good points, and I agree with one thing he does. He does say that this cold, uh, putting yourself out there, asking a female out is not working these days in this, especially in a pre-pandemic or post-pandemic situation that we're having now, where a lot of women. I mean, I saw a guy on the bus most recently get balled out because he was talking, and it was a fellow Afro male. He was getting balled out by a Caucasian or Latin mixed race chick that was tripping. She said, "No, no, I don't want you looking at me." Okay, we get a lot of women like that these days. Now I understand what y'all saying in the so-called pimp game manosphere and PUA manosphere. That's not every woman, but a lot of women do not like cold approaching. I will agree with Mr. Adams on that. Cold approaching. So, but to end this, a lot of the things I disagree with. Marriage is his take on marriage. I understand that. He's a divorcee, but he just kind of really, it kind of really irks me at times because the, everybody's situation is different. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like I said, you know, a lot of his fans may a lot of his fans, are a lot of guys that have probably been through the ringer, you know, with their marriage, situations and stuff, not really, coming out that great. But he just really kind of irks me at times because he's the kind of guy that puts a negative spin, you know, and a lot of it doesn't really go for everybody out here when it comes to their dating and mating options. And I think a man still has a right to engage in a serious relationship with a female if he wants to. He doesn't have to, but it's also a choice. But I think that he's really having a sway of thinking uh on certain individuals, including younger men of this generation, younger Afro American men, or even young Latin men, Caucasian men. It doesn't matter. He's saying that in the Western world of dating, it's dead, and it is by far dead. If you're a SYSBM international, overseas, for your endeavors of following and dating and mating options. The Western world is not a dating and mating option for an SYSBM man, such as myself and other guys that may, go by the SYSBM thing. But Coach Greg Adams does have a lot of good points. He really does. But outside of that, I really can't condone a lot of what he says, and a lot of what he's trying to indoctrinate. But I do agree about the cold approach. It is dead. I don't want to try it. I mean, I'm in my late 30s, going in closing almost into my early 40s now. And why am I cold approaching in my late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, late 40s, early mid 50s? We shouldn't have to cold approach. And I understand that men have to do a little bit of leg work to get with a woman, but it shouldn't have to be that hard. And women really make it hard here in the Western society. They really do, unless the woman is sincerely interested. But 96.95% of the time, a lot of women don't show a lot of interest. And I live here in the Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area, uh, where it's a lot of narcissism. A lot of women are just, they want what they want. They're in the relationships that they want to be in. And it gets very difficult. It gets very difficult um, to know what woman is feeling you and what woman is feeling you. And it varies from time to time. And I see sometimes women do kind of smile and, show like, what is that saying? Are you inviting me to ask you out? I don't know. It's weird, but being a single Afro male, Western male that's trying to go international in SYSBM dating, but Coach Greg Addams does, I do agree with some things, because, but I guess he's just saying totally just 86 women, live your best life. And I think it's for those who have been in relationships, who have been through divorce, and they're just like, hey, marriage and relationships are not working for me. Shoot it to those, but don't try to indoctrinate everybody with, don't date, don't approach women, and I think he says that romance is dead. I think it's dead here in the United States, but I think it's still salvageable in other countries with women who still follow the traditional manner of wanting to be in a serious relationship. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, a lot of women that are in these foreign countries don't have it like the same similar choices of dating that women do here in the Western world, over here in the West, here in the United States. So, I never want to probably debate with Coach Greg Addams. I don't think he even touches on the international thing. I don't want him to touch on that. He does get with that other cat by the name of Donovan Sharp. I don't particularly care for him either. He's got the same approach. And actually, it was discovered that Donovan Sharp, actually, his lady doesn't even look that great. But I'm not going to hate on that man. It is what it is. You know what I mean? These guys have a right to their platforms. These guys have a right to the money that they're making on their platforms. And they do have a following. And I think it's good. I don't think it's that good for the most part, but those it encourages to not worry about females and being in relationships or seeking relationships, this is the man you may have to go see. But I feel that most of us SYSBM men who want to continue our endeavors in our romantic mating and dating options, we need to look at these guys with a grain of salt, but do take in what they say is true. And like I said, I do agree on one thing that Coach Greg Addams does say. He says it plainly and clearly. The cold approach is dead in the Western world. Now, cold approach in another country, from what I know and from what I've heard, it's still pretty good. I mean, down in Brazil and Colombia, I guess you can approach a woman down there and she's not going to scoff at you. I had heard a live stream from another brother by the name of Sheck Unlimited. He's another fellow Afro male that goes down to Colombia, and he goes down there and he speaks a little bit of Spanish, but there are some Colombianas that speak English. And I think between Medellin and Cartagena. But anyway, he's been in Medellin, and I think he's now back in Cali. And he says, and even he had an interview with a local Colombiana. She said basically that women are cool with cold approaching. The mujeres Latinas in Colombia are actually cool with cold approaching them. And you can actually go up to a woman in a gym and ask her out. I was like, dang. Well, if you go to ask out a woman here in the United States inside of a local gym, she gonna look at you like you're crazy, or play the game like she rolling her eyes and then moving on to the next machine or the next exercise if you try to cold approach her. So the game is jacked up, man. I mean, I wish this was the 1980s, the 1990s. I heard it was way better back then compared to how it is now, where women are just, and women want to destroy your spirit because they want to continue to play this game of cat and mouse, and I'm really tired of it. That's why I don't do no cold approaching. I don't do it at all. Woman smiles at me, she smiles. If she doesn't, she doesn't. I stay focused on SYSBM and my international dating options. But not to put down the free agency lifestyle. If that's what you want to do, go to Coach Greg Addams. He's the man for that. But I just feel that he kind of disrupts at times those of us who are trying to still be in relationships with good women and picking the right women, more or less outside the United States. I just think that he is right, but in terms of it, just kind of just really makes me feel just like, he is right. He is right in like a lot of ways, but I just get upset because it's kind of sad. And shout out to Phantom Clutch. It is kind of sad that we're in these state of affairs in this 21st century where women are not receptive to good men, and that we as good men got to go outside the United States and go to foreign countries and pick women who think the world of good men, of good, just average, everyday good guys. And it's ridiculous that now that I see, even if a fellow black male is picked, guess who the black male is with the Caucasian or the Latina here in California? She's with some ugly looking brother, some thug looking dude. And I'm sorry, but it's crazy, man. But anyways, that's my take, and that's my rant about the free agency lifestyle, Coach, Coach Greg Addams. This is not a video to really defame him for what he does, but it's just sad that I get upset that a guy like him has to tell you the reality of the Western world. And I had high hopes. Growing up, I had high hopes for the Western world of dating, to see what my options were here in the place I've been born and bred in, the United States. But now that does not seem to be the case, but I digress. But anyway, thanks for watching. And shout out to Coach Greg Addams for doing what he's doing. Like I said, this wasn't even trying to defame him. I disagree on a lot of levels, but I gotta agree on some levels. He is kind of correct, especially with the cold approach stuff. That I don't even know why that's even still a thing. Okay, you do the cold approach. Guess where you're gonna wind up? I'm not saying you're gonna wind up in the Me Too, but women consider that freaking harassment now. I don't know. I mean, hey, in other countries they may still be cool with it. I have yet to see that. Once everything starts building up for me to travel again, I'll hopefully try to be able to see that. But here, unless the woman's really into you and she's really nice and she doesn't do that, and I've met some women, but some women is just like, I don't really want to talk. But it hasn't really been a lot of opportunities like that because of how women are these days. All right. It's Rolando G, and that's my rant on free agency lifestyle coach, Coach Greg Addams. I disagree to a degree, but at the same time, he is right. All right. More to come. I'm out.